What is happening, guys? Welcome back to Redbeard's Garage. On today's episode, we got this Central Machinery belt sander from Harbor Freight. This is a 6x48 belt sander. Now, if anybody's ever used one of these, they're not great for metalworking. They're actually useless for metal sanding. They're pretty decent for wood. They do have a 1 horsepower motor, but it's a single capacitor electric motor. And if you know anything about electric motors, to get fast startups, you need dual capacitors. So we went to Harbor Freight and we picked up this 3 horsepower 220 motor to make this a bad freaking belt sander. So this is a relatively cheap setup to do. The belt sander cost about $250 to buy it, and it will get you by for a little bit of time. So this is for if you're on a budget, you want to do, you know, like start cheap and build up a better tool. This is the perfect route to go, because a Grizzly belt sander is anywhere from $550 to $750 for the same setup. And this thing's going to be even stouter than that. This 3 horsepower motor has dual capacitors on it, so it's going to have super fast startups. We will have to do a little playing with the ratios, and I will be upgrading the bearings in the rollers. So it's going to be, you know, night and day different. This thing will eat some steel, and we're going to put a Benchmark abrasive belt on it. That's my favorite belts to use, and we do have a discount code for Benchmark abrasive, so check that out. So let's get this side cover pulled off. We're not going to be using this disc sander. We're going to get rid of it completely, because I never use these for metal work anyways. We got to see what pulley size we got so we can go pick those up and get the new motor mounted up. Have a super small pulley on the motor, and you know, a decent size one on the actual belt setup. So we're definitely going to be going a lot larger with this one, probably around a 4-inch to start with, to see how we like that. So before we take this belt off, we're going to actually start this up, grind a little bit of metal just to show you how it performs right out of the box. So we have a piece of 2-inch by 3/16 sheet metal, and we're going to just show you how this thing performs, how slow it starts up, and then we can start modifying this thing to really make it perform. As you can see, it is sanding, but if I put any pressure on this, it bogs down. Now that's pretty much due to the weakness of the 1 horsepower motor, and the rule of thumb is for every 1 inch of belt you have, you should have 1 horsepower. Now this is a 6-inch wide belt, so 3 horsepower isn't what we properly need, but this thing is going to eat steel like nobody's business when we're done. So one more time, we'll start it back up. You can kind of see the finish that we have on that steel there. We'll see what it looks like when we're done. So it's barely taken off the saw marks from my saw, and it's getting some heat in it, but it's not done. There's no way I would grind steel with this on a daily basis. So let's get those pulleys checked out, and we can see what size we have. I'm thinking a 4-inch here, and we're probably going to be getting rid of this entire belt guard, because I don't think a 4-inch pulley is going to actually fit inside of it. So we have like a 3 5/8 and a 2-inch down here. So we're going to double our size. So basically, the larger you go here, the more belt speed you get, or the smaller you go here is more belt speed. So if you look at this new motor, even though it's a lot larger motor, it has a smaller footprint to bolt down, but it actually sets perfectly in between the original flat spots for the feet. So what we can do is just mark out some slits to drill, and we can drill 4 holes and then, you know, open them up with a Dremel with a cutoff wheel in it, and then we can get this motor mounted down. So we got the belt sander all set up. Now, unfortunately here locally, they did not have a 1/2 inch pulley. So I had to use this 5/8 pulley. So I have ordered, and this is 3.5, this is 3 5/8. So what I've done is ordered a 4.5 inch, 1/2 inch pulley for this, 1/2 inch belt width I'm talking about, just so we don't have any problems. Our belt's decently tight. I would want it to be a little bit tighter than that. So I am going to do a drag setup to help me tension it, because it's extremely hard to tension this belt by yourself. But there's no belt slippage. I've ran this thing for a few minutes, and so far it's been good. We got our benchmark abrasive belt in. This is, I think, an 80 grit, and I'm going to order a couple of different, like have some 120s and stuff. It's not bad to change the belt. You just slide it off this way, but I wish it had the quick release tensioner on it. This does take a few minutes to, you know, loosen everything up and get it, you know, worked in there. You can see we've done a little bit of sanding on it, but this, so I did have to make the slides even further back to fit the original box back on there with the thermal switch. So that's a thermal protection switch there, and the wiring comes out of here. And I'm not going to go over how I wired this, because I don't want to tell people to wire something a certain way and someone get hurt. So I'm not going over my wiring, but it runs to this box. I bought this switch off of Amazon. It is linked down below. You do have to use a standoff style box because this is so deep inside. But now if you hit the on button, and it's wired up to a 220 switch right there. So if you hit the on button, it's instant speed startup. That is as fast as you can possibly imagine a belt sander starting. It's instant. It's just like, I absolutely love this Dictator, and it is like that too. It's actually a little slower startup than this 3 horsepower is, and this horsepower rating is a 1.5 horsepower, and it's super mean. Like, I've never even got close to bogging this down. This old school Hitachi, you can bog it down pretty easy, and I got like a extreme coarse belt on this one. But this is my friend's. I'm going to give it back to him. I've been borrowing it while I was creating this monstrosity. But I will give an update after a while, after using this for a while, and also on re-gearing it, because the gears, unfortunately, I had to order them off Amazon. And I'm going to do something to, I may do a spring-loaded belt tensioner on the bottom side here, just pressing up on this. I might end up doing that, just so you don't have to worry about the motor so much. And so I'm going to grind some steel on it real quick. What we'll do is see how fast it'll grind the corners of this steel. You can see we've already done it here. But let's see, you know, let's really press on it, see if it bogs. But I'm absolutely loving this setup. 500 bucks, around abouts, all in all. I mean, you'll have some money and some wire and stuff hooking it up, but this thing is instant startup. I mean, one more time, just watch how quick. Absolutely insane how fast it starts. So let's throw you on tripod and grind some steel. this thing eats. I mean, I just ate a 1/2 inch thick of steel off that instantly. It is insane what this thing will do. Now this is a really coarse belt. I would probably be running, is it an 80? It may even be a 60. Yeah, so this is a 60. I would prefer 80 grits, 80 to 120 is what I like to do, because I'm not trying to eat normally a 1/4 inch of steel. I mean, that is insane. We grinded off a massive corner, another massive corner, and then just ate it down. And there is absolutely no bog on this thing. Again, my belt could be a little bit tighter, but I'm not getting any kind of belt slip. But like I said, I ordered a 4.5 to get a little bit more belt speed. But I'm absolutely in love with this setup. So there's a couple things I dislike about this belt sander, and that is mainly how you take the belt off. It would be nice if it had a quick release, you know, that you could real quick slide off, kind of like that Hitachi does, and then you just pull it right off and it's like a quick tension. But this isn't bad. It doesn't seem to walk a lot. Once you get it set, it's really good. And I'm using a 60 grit belt on this. This is more aggressive than I normally would use. I just don't think it's necessary for what I'm doing to have a 60 grit. Normally I'd run an 80 to 120 because normally I'm just shaping some corners. But I mean, it is insane at what this thing will eat, and it never even hesitates one bit. I was forcing this thing in there and it was just melting that steel. I mean, I am super pumped. 500 bucks. And the best thing is you can buy it as a standalone unit and use it for a while like that. But I highly recommend this setup. Super sick. I'm not going to show how I wired it because I don't want people taking any of my advice on wiring stuff. I just don't want to be to blame for anything. But highly recommend checking this out, doing this for yourself if you're in the market for a good high-speed belt sander. I will do an update on our TikTok and Instagram when I do the pulley swap. And I'm going to build that spring-loaded tensioner. One disadvantage about this one, I don't like how you mount this. You basically got to go up through the bottom with bolts and bolt this to a table. So it's really hard to make a pattern for it to mount it on a table. So what I'm going to do is cut some heads off some bolts, sharpen them to a point, thread them in there, set it where I want it, and then take a mallet and hit it around to center punch the table, and then drill those holes and go up from the bottom and put some, you know, red or blue Loctite on them. But super pumped with this. I think it's going to be an amazing belt sander, and keep watching the channel and you'll see how good it lasts. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check out the links where you can find everything that we use to make this conversion. If there's anything I bought in the store, I'll place it down below as Amazon links. Even the wire that I feel like was a good size wire. Awesome, awesome upgrade. I highly recommend this if you're into metal fabricating or wood. You could burn through some wood like crazy with this thing. But super pumped with how this turned out. I am going to be doing an update video later, upgrading the bearings in the rollers. I don't know what they're, you know, what they can handle in there, and I just don't want to trust whatever bearings are in there. So I'm gonna get some really high grade Japanese bearings put in there, and really like this. It's gonna be a massive upgrade over that Hitachi. So make sure to check out those links. Thank you so much. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section below. We thank you guys. We love you, and God bless.